Hello and welcome to East Meets West Country. This week we're in Poland. 30 years ago this was a communist country. The Palace of Culture and Science here behind me was a gift to a grateful nation from Joe Stalin. Today though the palace is just a relic from a bygone age. The country has shaken off communist rule, it's investing for the future, and that means opportunities for West Country businesses. There was a time when Poland's most famous export was the composer Frédéric Chopin. He spent many years living as an exile in Paris, eventually dying there in 1849, but he was born in a village about 50 kilometres west of Warsaw. Chopin is a national hero, and his birthplace is now a museum, attracting tourists and classical music buffs from all over the world for regular concerts. More recently, a former Archbishop of Krakow, Karol Wojtyła, overtook him in the famed stakes when he became Pope John Paul II. The late Pope's triumphal return to his homeland and his meetings with another Polish hero, Lech Wałęsa, were widely regarded as a catalyst for the eventual triumph of trade union solidarity. After a series of strikes in the country's shipyards and 2 years of martial law, in 1988, Poland's communist leader, General Jaruzelski, finally admitted defeat. And a year later, Eastern Europe's first non-communist government since the Second World War was installed. In 1990, Wałęsa himself became president, and with membership of NATO and now the European Union, Poland's remarkable voyage from Soviet satellite to independent state is still on course. Poland's arrival in the European Union has presented businesses with a challenge and an opportunity.
Poland is a huge market. It is larger than all the other EU accession states put together, the other 9 that joined with Poland on the 1st of May last year. There are still around 15 million reasonably affluent consumers in Poland that are worth targeting. And looking at trade flows between the UK and Poland, whereas Poland's exports to the UK have surged over the last years, they've tripled since 1997. UK exports to Poland are roughly where they were 8 years ago.
A recent survey of business leaders by Ernst & Young found Poland was the world's 4th most attractive country to invest in, beating the traditional leaders Germany, France and Great Britain.
The UK sees Poland as a key business partner and ally in Europe. We already have a strong track record of dynamic trade relations. The UK is one of the biggest exporters of goods to the Polish market and is the 6th largest investor in Poland.
With a flight time of 2.5 hours and plenty of airlines to choose from, flying is probably the easiest way to get to Poland, if taking a ferry and then driving 1,500 kilometres doesn't take your fancy. Budget carrier EasyJet flies daily from Luton to Warsaw and Krakow. They'll get you there for about £140 return. There are other budget flights available as well, in particular from Polish carrier Wizz Air to Gdansk and Krakow, although they fly to nearby Katowice rather than Krakow itself. You can also take a Eurostar train from Waterloo through the Channel Tunnel, which will get you to Poland overnight after a change in Brussels. But at about £200 a ticket, it's more expensive than the plane. Although Warsaw has all the hustle and bustle of a modern European capital, Poland's infrastructure is only gradually recovering from chronic underinvestment during the communist years. The roads in particular are in a terrible state, not to mention the thousands of kilometres of gas and water main which are going to need replacing. And that's where an engineering company based in Somerset can help. Brewis Engineering from Frome make high-quality components for the trenchless tunnelling industry, which enables contractors to install or replace pipes without digging holes. Once they've drilled out a tunnel, they have to pull the pipe back through it, and that's where Brewis comes in.
A towing head is a device for providing a secure attachment to the front of polyethylene pipe. When one turns the eye bolt, the grippers expand and the teeth grip the inside diameter of the pipe. To install it, one simply pushes it into the front of the pipe, turn the eye bolt, torque it up, and there a secure connection.
Like most good ideas, the Brewis towing head is an apparently simple but extremely effective device. The design has been widely copied throughout the world, but the original and best still comes from the West Country.
The standard towing head I invented back in 1984, and the most recent one we first made in 2001, so that was 17 years of experience in getting from the simplest to the most sophisticated. But it is acclaimed worldwide as being superb at doing its job.
That acclaim has reached as far as Warsaw, where Waldemar Wajak runs Marpol Trenchless technology, a firm that supplies drilling components in Poland and across Eastern Europe.
We were in need of special systems, and the Brewis Engineering company was the only one that could help us at that time. And we have decided that there is also market for the towing heads, one of the main products of that company. So we decided that we will be representing them. We will become the representative for the Polish market.
And this is the Brewis towing head being put in position on a drilling rig that's being refurbished in Poland, ready to be sent out to a customer. Marpol sell complete systems, and the products from Brewis, although a relatively small part of the apparatus, are critical. If the towing head should fail when the pipe is halfway along the trench, then you're in trouble.
Having spent an immense amount of time and money in doing all the preparatory work and preparing to pull in, if the towing head fails at an inappropriate moment, then in fact an awful lot of time and money is wasted as the sequence of operations has to be started all over again.
At a certain point, we simply were in need of higher quality products. And this is the reason why we have developed contacts with the Brewis Engineering company.
The world of trenchless tunnelling is a fairly small one, so identifying new and expanding markets is crucial if companies like Brewis want to increase their business.
We already do about 20% export, and this was one of the reasons why we started to focus on Poland. We're working very closely with Business Link Somerset, and our advisor, our international trade advisor, recommended that with the accession countries coming on board, that we were to look at them as possible areas for expansion. They need to refurbish their gas, their water, both potable and non-potable. And so it gave us the opportunity of looking and seeing whether we could find a distributor, which we did. And in Waldemar, we found somebody that was very active in the HDD marketplace. And so therefore we decided that we would support him, and he liked what we'd got to offer. And so that's how we've developed particularly the Polish market.
In the tunnelling industry, supplying products quickly and having them on site anywhere in the world within a couple of days isn't an uncommon demand. If your firm can't do it, they'll go to someone who can. So making equipment available through a worldwide network of distributors is a distinct advantage. But selling your product into any new country, particularly one that, like Poland, was communist less than 3 decades ago, is a challenge.
When you enter into any new market, whether it's Poland or anywhere else, your expectations are extremely high. But even though their gross domestic product is accelerating, and I think it's running at in excess of 6% at the moment, it is from a far lower level than it is in the UK, and so therefore you have to take that into account. And also, they haven't got the inbuilt expertise that we have, so therefore their learning curve is a lot steeper than ours is, so you do have to be patient.
Market in Poland, as far as the trenchless technology is concerned, is under development. But we didn't start yesterday. We started already 10 years ago in Poland, so we rather experience the continuous development. And there is the positive tendency.
For companies like Brewis looking to export to Poland, or indeed Polish companies wanting to trade in the UK, the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce is on hand to offer support and advice, which can come in handy whilst negotiating a forest of paperwork.
For a British company used to the notions of common law and common sense, sometimes when you've come across the paperwork here, you're wondering, well, what value does this actually add? All of these rubber stamps and signatures that you have to go around collecting, does it actually help the business process? The answer is probably not much. And the Polish government is aware of the fact that if in an international race for global investment, it has to become a more business-friendly environment.
After the break, we'll be finding out how a South Devon firm who cook up seafood are hoping to make a splash in Polish delicatessens, and why a company from Saltash are getting excited about selling health-giving magnets near Krakow. Join us again in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to East meets West Country. This is Warsaw, capital of Poland, a city that was bombed pretty much to destruction during World War II. In fact, even what they call the old part of the city, which seems very ancient and antique, really only dates back to the 1950s when it was rebuilt, even the cobblestones of reproduction. But it demonstrates Poland's determination to rise above its troubled past and build for the future. And one of the things that's coming back onto the menu is Polish food. It's been famous for potato, sausage, soup and the many ways you can prepare a beetroot. But the Poles are developing a discerning palate, and it seems they're partial to a certain type of food prepared in the West Country. Based at Paynton Harbour in Devon, Seafair is busy marinading mussels, prawns, squid and cuttlefish in different types of oil and vinegar, 13 products in all. Popular over here, and it seems in Poland as well.
Nigel Bloxham, who was a London chef, came down to the West Country, and he was buying his wet fish for a business from Brixham, and he found that the fishermen were throwing away cuttlefish, octopus, squid, because they just didn't know what to do with it in those days. And Nigel, being a chef, developed a recipe based on a Mediterranean idea of marinated seafoods, and we've sort of really grown from there.
We'll put them straight into barrels, into white wine vinegar, well stirred, and then they're marinated for 4 or 5 days to get the pH to an acceptable level. After that, when they're ready, they're brought over to this side of the factory. They're took into the jarring room. The product's weighed out by hand, it's put into jars, automatically filled, metal detected and lidded, and then it comes through along the belt to be labelled and either put into boxes or trays, ready for dispatch.
And what is it about your product that appealed to the Polish, you think?
I don't know. I was worried at first because I thought, Poland being an Eastern Bloc country, we might be way too expensive. But it seems that no, they're prepared to pay for seafood, and it does appeal to them. I think it's the northern sort of European aspect of looking at seafood in that we marinate ours. We use vinegar. Because we don't want sort of false sort of chemical preservatives, we use vinegar, and I think they're used to that sort of thing.
And this is where the jars bound for Eastern Europe end up, the warehouse of Polish importers De Care. They look after some of the UK's biggest brands, including HP Sauce, Lee & Perrins and Patax.
We are importing spices, sauces, ingredients to Poland. Then we create the whole line of the products to give the people opportunity to cook in some style. I don't want to say that we want the people to cook original cuisine because it's impossible. But we want to bring the flavor of the different cuisine to Poland.
Alongside the household names in De Care's warehouse is Seafair. It's early days for the company's presence in Poland, but hopes are high.
It's a good time to slowly start to place the products on the markets and do a much bigger promotion and activity on the beginning of the autumn. So we are ready, and we will do it, on the beginning of, that means September.
One of the issues facing any manufacturer hoping to sell goods in Poland is price. Although the value of retail sales went up by 10.5% last year, wages in Poland remain relatively low.
The British pound is strong, the British economy is strong, that means the British prices are rather high. Compared to the developing country like Poland, where people have a limited number of the money which they can spend, so even sometimes they are interesting to try, they don't have a chance.
If you bear in mind that in the UK, 4 stores sell 70% of all food sold in Britain, in Poland that market is still massively fragmented. There are many small, medium-sized players. Eventually there will be consolidation, and this is also opportunities for business.
One thing that has become easier since Poland's arrival in the European Union is customs. Instead of goods being tied up in warehouses for days or weeks on end, they can get almost straight through. And the reduction in red tape is also likely to attract new investors.
The business demographics of Europe are certainly changing. In Poland, I think you're going to see significantly more companies coming here to manufacture. Then, as the country develops, European funding, structural fundings becoming available. Poland will be one of the targets of significant amount of structural funding from the EU over the next period. This will create opportunities for public-private partnership type deals, where again the UK is an expert, a worldwide expert in this type of activity, so that will create opportunities.
About 600 kilometres south of Warsaw is Krakow, which, unlike Poland's capital, escaped the Second World War almost unscathed. An architectural gem and a tourist magnet, it's the country's second city and something of an economic powerhouse in its own right. 80 kilometres south of Krakow, you'll find Bielsko-Biała, a typical provincial Polish town. Tonight it's hosting a meeting for a group of people one Cornish company hopes will distribute its products.
Who wants to change his life? Yeah? You want? Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
What's everyone getting so excited about? Magnets, actually. Not just any old magnets, these are reputed to improve your health, and the thriving company which makes them is based in Saltash.
We're a Cornish manufacturing company that specialises in environmental and healthcare products, ostensibly designed around a specially designed magnet that we use using a patented technology called centre reverse polarity, and we use that to influence fluids such as blood, water, oil and gas.
At EcoFlow's headquarters, magnetic horse blankets are manufactured by a team of machinists. Yes, the products are available for animals too. Then the company's goods are packaged up and sent out across the world.
We're open in a number of European countries. We started off in the UK back in 1991. We're in Southern Ireland, in Scandinavia, in Germany and Austria. We're opening in Australia in November of this year. And most recent country we moved into was into Poland.
We are opening a new city here in Poland. We had our launch in Krakow in June, and now we are opening Bielsko-Biała as one of the next major centers with I hope, a very remarkable group of people tonight.
The first time I heard about EcoFlow from my friend in Germany, I had a headache. So she gave me the product, and that made me interested in it. Now the headaches have gone.
Wiedząc, jak dobrze ten produkt podziałał na mój organizm.
Dzień dobry, firma EcoFlow, Roszcza Granata. Po tej stronie w czym mogę pomóc?
One way to encourage orders from Poland is to be able to answer queries from potential clients in their own language, and EcoFlow is taking care of that too.
I am the administrator, so mostly they are placing the orders, they are asking how to fill in the application forms, what are the fees, how they can pay for the orders, and how they can pay for the application forms and so on. sometimes they are asking very in details about the instructions, about the products. So then I'm trying to help them, if not right away, so I'm calling them back and after a few minutes, so it's not a problem, I think.
Recruiting a team of local distributors is how EcoFlow promotes its products. The company believes this network marketing principle is one of the reasons it's so successful.
The most powerful method of moving any product successfully is by personal recommendation. If you bought something that you were happy with, or you went to watched a good film, you wouldn't hesitate in recommending it to someone else. Network marketing is exactly that. You try something that you like, you consider value, and you recommend it on to others. But unlike the local cinema owner who doesn't give you any money, we pay you a sum of money for that introduction.
No, everybody raises his hand who wants to have more money.
This is clearly not your average sales pep talk, but word of mouth seems to be effective. EcoFlow has been recognised by the Sunday Times as one of the country's 100 best investment prospects. There's even a money-back guarantee if you aren't satisfied with your magnet.
We call ourselves the company of choices. We have people who just joined and they just want to sell a little bit of product to make some extra pocket money at the end of the week. We have other people who have made a full-time, a big income, a serious income from this business.
Away from the big cities and the dockyards along Poland's northern coast, you'll find unspoiled countryside and farming practices unchanged for decades. That's likely to trigger big changes to the Common Agricultural Policy, which will be felt even in southwest England. But it's business practices which are a more immediate concern.
Corruption, mostly in the form of preferential treatment of friends' companies rather than bribes, remains an obstacle. Also, Poland still has poor infrastructure, so road and rail links are particular problems for investors. However, the business climate in Poland is improving all the time.
If you're a medium-sized exporter and you're exporting to Germany, to Scandinavia, to Holland, to France, to Spain, and you've not been out to Poland yet, it's not in your portfolio of markets that you're selling to, you must come out here, because otherwise you're just missing opportunities that your competitors will snap up.
In the West Country, there are already successful businesses taking advantage of those opportunities, and they're likely to be joined by many others as Poland takes its place among Europe's most dynamic economies.
Hey!